The great hall of the Galactic Concord floated in the silent void between stars, shaped like a spiraling shell of polished obsidian and humming with ancient energy. Inside, thousands of beings from 217 civilizations sat in tiered circles, their forms as varied as the worlds they came from, some armored in chitin, others shimmering with bioluminescence, a few barely more than clouds of thought given shape by force fields. None of them were human. None had ever set foot on Earth. Yet today, they would decide its fate. For centuries, Earth had been a footnote in the galactic census, a blue-green anomaly that somehow survived the Great Filter, the invisible wall that stopped most young species from reaching the stars. Humanity had sent signals, built probes, even tried peaceful contact 100 years ago. But their message was lost in translation. Their technology deemed primitive, their biology too fragile, their emotions too chaotic. The Concord dismissed them as unstable mammals playing with fire they didn't understand. Now, Earth sat alone in its quiet corner of the Orion Arm, unaware that the entire galaxy had turned its eyes toward it not with curiosity, but with hunger. The vote had been scheduled for this cycle. The motion was simple: authorize full annexation, resource extraction, and repurposing of Sol 3, Earth, and its system. Each species would contribute ships, soldiers, or technology. In return, they would claim zones of influence, mining rights on Mars, atmospheric harvest from Venus, orbital stations around the Moon. The Krell hegemony, the Concord's military backbone, argued that Earth's oceans and biomass were too valuable to leave in the hands of emotional primitives. The Sylvani, elegant tree-like beings who valued harmony, reluctantly agreed after all. Humans had never joined the Concord, never followed its laws, never even acknowledged its existence properly. To them, Earth was a wild variable in an orderly universe. The voting began. One by one, species cast their choice through neural pulses, light patterns, or scent trails. There were no abstentions, no objections. Not a single voice, not even from the few pacifist enclaves, rose to defend the humans. They had no ambassador, no allies, no idea they were being sentenced. The final tally flashed in the center of the chamber: 217 to 0 amperes. Low hum of satisfaction rippled through the hall. The Krell commander, a 7-foot-tall armored warlord named Roktal, let out a guttural chuckle. Good, he rumbled through his translator. Let the mammals learn their place. Fleets began to move. From the molten rings of Gethys Prime, Krell dreadnoughts powered up their void drives. From the crystalline forests of Xylos, the Vorlax bioships uncurled like sleeping dragons. The Zenthuri hive mind dispatched silent needle vessels filled with logic warriors. 10,000 warships, drawn from every major power in the Concord, assembled near the edge of known space. Their destination: Sol System. Their mission: total domination. Back on Earth, no alarms sounded. In a small coastal town in Portugal, a child built a sandcastle as seagulls cried overhead. In Nairobi, engineers tested a new fusion-powered bus. In Shanghai, students laughed over holographic history lessons about ancient wars that now seemed so small. Humanity had finally united, not perfectly, not without friction, but enough to share clean energy, cure aging-related diseases, and heal the scars of climate collapse. They called it the Quiet Age, a time of rebuilding, not conquest. They had no idea what was coming. The first sign was a flicker in deep space radar. A technician in the Andes blinked at his screen. "That can't be right," he muttered. "Looks like a storm of metal." But the shape was too ordered, too vast. He flagged it to UEDC, the Unified Earth Defense Council, a body formed only 20 years prior, after the last global crisis. At first, they thought it was a sensor glitch. Then, More stations confirmed it. Something massive was approaching the outer solar system at impossible speed. Within hours, the truth became undeniable. A fleet, not one, but many, was heading straight for Earth. And it wasn't just big. It was galactic. Panic did not erupt. Not yet. Humanity had spent decades preparing for disasters, asteroids, plagues, AI failures. Discipline held. Emergency protocols activated. Cities dimmed their lights. Power grids shifted to shield mode. Satellites reoriented. The world held its breath. In Geneva, the UEDC chamber filled with leaders from every continent. General Marlin stood at the center, her face calm, eyes sharp. "We don't know their intent," she said. "But they're not broadcasting peace. They're not hailing us. They're just coming." A scientist from Brazil spoke up. "Their energy signatures match no known human design. Some of those ships are kilometers long. One signal alone carries more data than our entire internet. And they're all moving together," added a Russian strategist. "This isn't an invasion by one species. It's everyone." Silence fell. The implications settled like cold stone in every chest. The galaxy hadn't sent a scout. It hadn't sent a warning. It had sent an army made of armies. Outside, the night sky remained peaceful. Stars twinkled, as they always had. But soon, telescopes caught the first glints of armor near Neptune. Then Jupiter. Then Mars thought the Concorde fleet entered Earth's orbital neighborhood, like gods returning to judge a forgotten tribe. They took positions with chilling precision, ringing the planet in a net of steel, plasma, and alien will. Still, no message came. Then, finally, a signal burst across every frequency radio. Quantum, even neural implants used by Earth's medical devices. It wasn't a voice. It was a thought, translated into every human language at once. Cold and absolute. "This system is now under Galactic Concorde authority. You have 48 hours to surrender all planetary control, disarm your defenses, and submit to annexation protocols. Resistance will result in total sterilization of your biosphere. Compliance ensures survival in service." The message repeated, over and over. Calm, certain. Final. In homes, offices, underground bunkers, people listened. Some wept, some raged. Some stared blankly at the sky, wondering how something so vast could want something so small. But in the UEDC war room, General Lin didn't flinch. She turned to her team. "They think we're animals who haven't learned to speak yet," she said quietly. "They don't know we've been listening for 100 years. And building. And waiting." She pressed a button. Deep beneath the oceans, inside dormant volcanoes, and along the dark side of the moon, hidden systems hummed to life. Humanity's true defenses, never shown, never boasted about, began to awaken. The Concorde expected fear. They got silence, and in that silence something new stirred in the galaxy. Doubt. For the first time in millennia, the unanimous vote might have been a mistake, and Earth, quiet, wounded, brilliant Earth, was about to remind the stars why humans never bow. The message from the alien fleet hung in Earth's air like a blade over every city, every village, every breathing human. Surrender or die. Simple words. Cold. Final. But on the third day, as the 48-hour clock ticked down to zero, Earth did not kneel. Instead, the Unified Earth Defense Council sent back a single reply. Broadcast on the same frequency the aliens used. "We negotiate with equals." "You are not." The response shocked the Concorde. Across their 10,000 ships, confusion rippled. Among the Krell, warriors growled in disbelief. Among the Xanthari hive mind, logic circuits stuttered. The Valax, who valued strength above all, tilted their massive heads in something close to respect. but it was quickly buried under anger. They refuse? Vroktal, the Krull commander, snarled. They have no weapons, no shields, no hope. Yet Earth stood silent. No ships launched, no missiles fired, no panic in the streets. From orbit, alien sensors saw only calm cities lit by soft lights. Farms green under morning sun, children walking to school as if the sky wasn't filled with monsters. Frustrated, the Concord decided to teach humanity a lesson. Not full destruction, just enough pain to break their spirit. They chose Luna Station, Earth's largest off-world colony, home to 30,000 scientists, engineers, and families. A peaceful place. A symbol dot at 6 o'clock Earth time. 3 Krull warships broke formation and moved toward the moon. Their plasma cannons glowed red-hot. On Luna, alarms finally blared. People ran for shelters. But Earth's defense grid had already seen the move. Deep in the lunar crust, hidden beneath research labs and greenhouses, silent machines activated. What the Concord didn't know was that for 50 years, Earth had been building weapons disguised as tools. Solar collectors were really lens arrays. Mining drones were really hunter-killers. And the weather satellites orbiting Earth, they were railgun platforms, powered by clean fusion and guided by neural AI that learned faster than any alien code dot as the Krull ships fired. Earth struck back. First, a swarm of black drones no bigger than birds erupted from the moon's south pole. They didn't carry bombs. They carried EMP pulses tuned to Krull neural implants. In seconds, the warship's crews convulsed, their armor locking up. Their cannons misfired, blasting empty space. Then, from behind Mars, a single human satellite spun and fired. Not a nuke, not a laser, a tungsten rod, accelerated to near-light speed. It punched through the lead Krull dreadnought like paper. The ship cracked in half, spilling silent fire into the void. The other 2 tried to flee. But Earth's eye had already mapped their escape paths. A second rod struck one. The third was swarmed by drones that latched onto its hull and injected. Corrosive nanite machines that ate through metal like acid through sugar in under 3 minutes. The demonstration attack was over. The moon stood untouched. The Krull fleet lost 3 of its finest ships. And not a single human fired a shot out of anger. Back on Earth, people watched the live feed in stunned silence. Then, slowly, cheers rose not of war, but of relief. They were not helpless. Orbiting high above, Vroktal stared at the wreckage drifting near the moon. His claws tightened. Impossible, he whispered. Their tech. It's clean, fast. The Sylvani ambassador, a tall being with bark-like skin and glowing green eyes, sent a private message to the Krull command. We were wrong. They are not primitive. They hid their strength. But pride is a powerful thing. The Concord would not back down now. Not after the vote. Not after the threat. So they chose escalation. They launched the true attack. Thousands of ships fired at once. Gravity bombs warped space around Earth's poles. Plasma storms rained toward the atmosphere. Bioharvesters descended to drain the oceans. The sky turned red, but Earth was ready. Beneath the crust of the planet, a network of quantum-linked nodes called the Geoshield flared to life. It wasn't a wall. It was smarter than that. It bent energy, redirected plasma, absorbed radiation, and stored it to power Earth's own weapons. The alien attacks didn't vanish. They were caught, tamed, and turned back. Cities didn't burn. Forests didn't die. The oceans stayed blue. From hidden bases in Antarctica, Africa, and the Pacific Trench, Earth's real fleet emerged, not huge battleships, but hundreds of small, fast vessels shaped like arrows. They moved in patterns no alien AI could predict. guided by human pilots linked to AI that learned from every second of combat. One Verlax bioship, a living mountain of muscle and acid, roared as it charged toward Tokyo. But before it could fire, 3 human fighters zipped past its eyes, dropping canisters. The canisters burst into mistailor nanites that confused the Verlax's nervous system. The beast thrashed, then fell into deep sleep, drifting harmlessly into the upper atmosphere. The Zentari tried logic war, sending mind probes to overload human brains with fear. But Earth's neural shields developed from decades of treating PTSD and anxiety filtered the attacks like noise-canceling headphones. Instead, human hackers sent back a simple message into the Zentari hive mind. You assume we think like you. We do not. Even the Krell's planet killer, a weapon that could crack worlds, was stopped. Not by force, but by trickery. Earth satellites projected a fake image of the planet's shifting orbit. The Krell fired at empty space. Their weapon drained their main power core. Before they could recharge, human drones swarmed their engine vents and fused them shut. The Concorde had expected a short war, a clean sweep. Instead, they found themselves fighting a ghost quiet, clever, and impossible to pin down. Worse, they began to see things they didn't understand. Human ships didn't target bridges or weapons. They targeted life support, engines, and comms, always disabling, never destroying. Prisoners were taken gently. Wounded aliens were given medical aid. Even in battle, humans spoke calmly over open channels. Stand down. You don't have to die today. This mercy confused the warriors of the galaxy. The Verlax valued strength through pain. The Krell believed fear ruled the universe. The Zentari thought logic was supreme. But humans used something else, something old, something the galaxy had forgotten. They used compassion as a weapon. Back on Earth, General Lin watched the battle unfold on a simple screen in a plain room. No glory, no speeches. Just data. Losses were light. Defenses held. And for the first time, alien ships began to retreat, not from damage, but from doubt. They thought we were animals, she said to her aide. Now they're starting to wonder if we're something else. Above, in the black, a Krell captain stared at his broken ship. His crew was alive, unharmed, and a human voice came over his comms. We can send help. Just say the word. He didn't answer, but he didn't fire again. The tide had turned. Not with fire, but with silence. Not with rage, but with control. The Concorde had come to dominate Earth. Now, for the first time, they felt afraid of it. And fear, in the hands of humans, was not the end. It was the beginning of something new, a lesson the galaxy would never forget. The war did not end, but it changed. After the failed attack on Earth, the Great Armada of the Galactic Concorde hovered near Mars, damaged, confused, and divided. What should have been a swift victory had become a nightmare of quiet resistance. Human defenses did not break. Human ships did not flee. And worst of all, humans did not hate. This last fact disturbed the alien commanders more than any weapon. The Krell expected screams of terror. The Verlax expected desperate rage. The Zentari expected chaotic panic. Instead, they found calm voices offering aid to wounded crews, medical drones docking with crippled ships, and battle plans that avoided killing whenever possible. It made no sense. Inside the Krell flagship, Roktal smashed his fist into a steel wall, cracking it. They fight like ghosts, he growled. They strike, vanish, and leave us bleeding, but not dead. Why? A young Krell officer, his armor scorched from battle, spoke softly. Maybe they do not want to kill us. Fool! Roktal roared. Mercy is weakness. But deep down, he wasn't sure. Across the fleet, cracks began to show. The Sylvani, who prized balance above all, sent a secret message to Earth. We were wrong. It read. We ask for a pause. The Quarth, insect-like traders who cared only for profit, withdrew their ships to the asteroid belt, unwilling to lose more assets in a war that made no sense. Even the Zentari hive mind, normally unified in cold logic, fractured. Some thought pods argued that humanity's behavior defied all known models of survival. Others whispered a dangerous idea. Perhaps their way is more advanced. Earth watched, listened, waited. General Marlin knew this moment would come. Wars weren't won by weapons alone. They were won in the mind. And the minds of the galaxy were now full of questions. She gave the order. Operation Stillham began. Human forces did not push outward with fire and thunder. Instead, they sent out small, fast craft not to attack, but to show. One ship flew near a damaged Verlax vessel and projected images onto its hull. Earth children planting trees. Doctors healing the sick. Scientists sharing knowledge across borders. The Verlax captain, a warrior who had crushed 50 worlds, stared at the images. He turned to his second-in-command. They build while we burn. Another human ship approached the Zentari needle vessel and broadcast data, not weapon schematics, but poetry, music, and records of human history. The hive mind absorbed it all. For the first time, their logic circuits struggled. Humans created beauty with no clear purpose. They helped strangers. They forgave enemies. This was not weakness. It was something else, something the galaxy had never mapped out. Then came the real blow. Earth launched its counteroffensive not with bombs, but with truth, using hacked Concord channels. They broadcast messages from captured alien soldiers who had been treated and released. They fed us, said a Krell medic. They healed my wounds. They asked nothing. A young Sylvani envoy added, they showed me their schools. Their art. They do not fear us. They pity us. The word spread like fire through the fleet. Morale dropped. Doubt grew. Some ships refused new orders. Others powered down weapons. The Krell High Command panicked. They ordered a second, larger strike. This time, they would use everything. The Black Moor, a gravity weapon that could crush continents. The Soul Silence, a wave that shut down all brain activity. And the Harvest Fangs, ships designed to strip Earth's atmosphere and ship it off Dashworld. The attack came at dawn over the Pacific. 10,000 alien vessels charged toward Earth in a storm of fire and shadow. But Earth was ready, hidden in the rings of Saturn, disguised as ice rocks. Human satellites had been waiting. As the fleet crossed the orbit of Jupiter, the satellites fired not missiles, but pulses of quantum entangled data. In an instant, every alien ship's navigation systems flickered. Their maps changed. Their targeting logs failed. Then, from the dark side of the moon, Earth's true secret emerged. A network of railgun platforms, silent, cold, and precise-fired rods made of compressed star metal. Each one hit with the force of a small moon. Not at warships. At their weapons. One by one, the Black Moor's emitters exploded. The Soul Silence generators shorted out. The Harvest Fangs lost power. The Concord fleet was left blind, half disarmed, and drifting. Before they could recover, human fighters swarmed in not to kill, but to disable. Nanite clouds drifted into engine vents. Drone swarms jammed comms. And then, the voice. Not a threat. Not a taunt. Just a calm, clear message in every language of the Concord. You came to take. We offer you a choice. Leave in peace, or learn why mercy is stronger than force. Vroktal, aboard his flagship, heard the words. He looked at his broken fleet. His proud warriors were exhausted. His ships were failing. His certainty was gone. And then Earth struck its final blow. Not with weapons. With memory. Using captured Zentari tech, Earth sent a pulse into the neural networks of every alien on board. It did not hurt. It showed them something. Earth's past. The wars, the famines, the plagues, the times humanity nearly destroyed itself. And then the rise. The choice to change. The slow, hard path to peace. The aliens saw humans crying over fallen enemies, building hospitals on battlefields, teaching former foes to farm, to read, to dream. For the first time, the galaxy understood. Humanity hadn't avoided war because they were weak. They had survived it and chosen something better. On the bridge of a Volax warship, the captain dropped to his knees. "We are the monsters," he whispered in the Zentari hive. A new consensus formed. We were wrong. They are not primitive. They are. Evolve. Even Vroktal felt a cold shame deep in his chest. He had come to dominate. But Earth had shown him what true strength looked like. The Concorde fleet stopped firing. Silence fell across the solar system. General Lin stood on a balcony in Geneva, watching the stars. She knew the war wasn't over. But the battle for minds was won. The galaxy had voted to crush Earth. Now, they were starting to beg, not for victory, but for understanding. And Earth, quiet and strong, was ready to teach them. The silence after the battle was louder than any explosion. Across the solar system, 10,000 alien ships floated like broken toys. No weapons fired. No engines roared. Only the soft hum of damaged systems and the quiet breath of confused crews. The Concorde had come to crush Earth. Instead, they had been shown a mirror, and what they saw frightened them more than any weapon. Earth did not celebrate. There were no victory parades, no broadcasts of triumph. Instead, calm voices came over every open channel. Stand down. Power off your weapons. We will not harm you. And slowly, one by one, the alien ships obeyed. The Krull flagship was the last to comply. Vroktal sat in his command chair, claws digging into the armrests. His pride was shattered. His war was lost. But worse, he no longer believed in it. The images Earth had shown him of humans healing enemies, sharing food with strangers, building after ruins stirred something deep inside him. Something his people had long forgotten. Shame. He gave the order. Deactivate all weapons. Signal surrender. The moment the Krull guns went dark, the rest of the fleet followed. The Volax lowered their bioblades. The Zentari shut down their mind probes. Even the Korath traders stopped plotting escape routes. They simply waited. Then Earth moved. Not with armies. Not with chains. But with help. Small, white ships marked with a green leaf symbol drifted from Earth's orbit toward the damaged alien vessels. They carried no weapons, only supplies. Air filters, medical kits, nutrient packs, and repair drones. At first, the aliens refused. They expected tricks, traps, slavery, but the humans did not force anything. They simply parked nearby and waited. On a Volax ship with failing life support, the captain finally opened his airlock. A human medic in a plain blue suit floated in, holding a small device. "This will fix your oxygen scrubbers," she said gently. "May I?" The Volax warrior, 10 feet tall and covered in battle scars, nodded slowly. Across the fleet, the same scene repeated. Human engineers repaired hull breaches. Doctors treated radiation burns. Technicians helped reboot fried systems, all without asking for anything in return. The galaxy watched and began to weep, not with tears, but with actions. The Sylvani sent a formal apology, carved into living wood and delivered by drone. The Korath offered their entire trade fleet as peace gifts. Even the Zentari, cold and logical, transmitted a single line: "We request to learn from you." But Earth's true plan was just beginning. General Marlin stood in a quiet room deep beneath the Swiss Alps. Around her, screens showed every alien ship. She spoke one word. Now. Operation Iron Compassion activated. From hidden platforms in Earth's upper atmosphere, soft pulses of energy spread outward. These were not weapons. They were mercy fields, gentle waves that calmed aggression centers in alien brains. Another wave carried nanites that temporarily blocked violent impulses without harming thought or memory. The effect was immediate and humbling. Krell warriors, who lived for battle, suddenly felt exhausted by rage. The lax commanders found their bloodlust replaced by sorrow. Even the Zentari hive mind reported a strange warmth in their logic streams, something they could not compute, but did not wish to remove. Then came the broadcast. Not threats, not demands, just stories. Earth sent recordings of its history. A soldier giving water to a wounded enemy. A farmer sharing seeds with a rival village after a drought. A child forgiving the person who hurt their family. Simple acts. Quiet courage. No glory. Just goodness. One by one, the alien leaders began to beg. First, it was small requests. Please, heal our young. Teach us how you stopped war. Show us how to live without fear. Then came the pleas. Vroktal himself sent a message to Earth Command. He did not speak as a general. He spoke as a broken being. We came to rule you, he said, voice low. Now I ask, how do we become worthy of your mercy? The Vorlax chieftain broadcast an ancient ritual song, a song of shame, usually only sung after betraying one's own kind. He sang it for all to hear. The Sylvani wept sap tears as they transmitted their deepest regret. We voted without seeing your heart. For that, we are unworthy. Even the cold Zentari sent a formal petition. We request permission to study your ethics. Our logic has failed us. Yours has saved us. Earth listened. An answer. General Lin appeared on every alien screen. She wore no uniform, only a simple gray jacket. She looked tired, but kind. You wanted to dominate us, she said. Now you see, true power is not in taking, but in giving. Not in fear, but in trust. She paused. You don't need our mercy. You need to earn it. And you can start by choosing peace forever. She offered no punishment, no prison, no revenge. Only a path forward. Disarm. Return home. Share Earth's message with your people. And never again vote to destroy what you do not understand. One alien ship after another powered up, not for war, but for home. As they left, they did something no one expected. They saluted Earth. Not with weapons, with open hands, with bowed heads, with songs of respect. The last to leave was Vroktal. Before his ship jumped to light speed, he sent one final message. Tell your children. We will remember. On Earth, people watched the skies clear. The stars returned. The world breathed again. But this was not the end. It was the beginning of something new. For the first time in galactic history, an entire coalition of warlike species had been defeated not by fire, but by kindness. Not by force, but by choice. And now, across 100 worlds, a new question spread like wildfire. What if humanity is not the anomaly, but the answer? In Geneva, General Lin looked up at the night sky. She smiled softly. The galaxy had come to take Earth. Now, they would carry its light back home. The war was over. The sky was quiet. The stars, once hidden behind warships and fear, shone clear and bright again. On Earth, life returned to its gentle rhythm. Children played in parks that had once been emergency shelters. Farmers planted seeds in soil that had not known bombs. In schools, teachers spoke not of battles, but of choices, how one decision, made with courage and care, could change everything. But the galaxy had not forgotten. One by one, alien ships returned not with weapons, but with envoys. They came in peace. Not because they were forced to, but because they wanted to learn. The Krell arrived first. Vroktel himself stepped onto Earth's soil, armored but unarmed, head low. He walked through the streets of Geneva, not as a conqueror, but as a student. He watched humans greet strangers with smiles. He saw old enemies share meals. He heard laughter where he expected blame. We thought strength was in the fist. He told General Marlin over tea in a quiet garden. But yours is in the hand that offers help. The Valax came next. Their chieftains brought gifts, not treasure, but seeds from their homeworld, asking to plant them beside Earth's trees. We wish to grow something together, they said. Even the Zenthari, once cold and distant, sent a living archive, a sphere of light that held all their knowledge. We give this not as payment, their message read, but as trust. Earth did not boast. It did not demand tribute or obedience. Instead, it offered something far more powerful, an invitation. General Lin stood before the newly rebuilt Galactic Concord, not as a prisoner or a subject, but as a teacher. She spoke in simple words, with no grand speech, no threats. You came to take our world, she said. Now you see, we do not own it. We care for it, and we care for each other. That is our strength. She laid out Earth's terms, not as punishment, but as a path. First, the Concord must recognize Earth as a sovereign moral authority. Not a ruler, but a voice in matters of war, peace, and ethics. Second, all species must end expansion through force. No more voting to take what belongs to others. Third, a human oversight council would be formed not to command, but to advise. To remind the galaxy that power without mercy is just noise in the dark. To everyone's surprise, the Concord agreed unanimously. Not out of fear, but out of respect. The new treaty was called the Solar Accord. It was signed not in blood, but in shared hope. On the day of signing, every species brought something from their world. A crystal from the Sylvani, a song from the Verlax, a data thread from the Zenthari. And from Earth, a single olive branch, grown in soil that had once been scorched by war. The ceremony took place on the moon, where the first battle had been fought. Now, it was a garden of peace. Back on Earth, in a small town near the sea, an old man sat on a hill watching the sunset. He had been a soldier once. Now, he was just a grandfather. His name was Elias. He didn't know about treaties or councils, but he knew what mattered. His granddaughter sat beside him, pointing to the sky. "Grandpa, are the stars safe now?" He smiled. "Safer than before, little one. Because we chose to be kind." She frowned. "But why did they listen?" "Because," he said softly, "sometimes the strongest thing you can do is show someone how to be better." High above, in orbit, alien diplomats gathered aboard a human-made station. They tried to understand how a species they once called primitive had changed the galaxy, not with weapons, but with wisdom. One young Krell envoy asked a human officer, "How did you stop us without destroying us?" The officer shrugged. "We didn't stop you. You stopped yourselves. We just showed you the mirror." The truth spread across the stars like starlight, gentle, but impossible to ignore. Earth became more than a planet. It became a promise, promise that war is not the only answer, that mercy is not weakness, that even the smallest voice can speak truth to power. In time, the Concord changed its ways. Wars between species ended. Old grudges faded. New schools taught not just science, but empathy. And every year, on the day the fleet first arrived, the galaxy observed a moment of silence, not for the dead, but for the choice that saved them all. On Earth, life went on, simple, quiet, strong. General Lin retired. She lived in a small house by the ocean, growing tomatoes and reading old books. Sometimes, ambassadors from distant worlds visited her, not for orders, but for advice. She always gave the same answer. Ask not how to win. Ask how to heal. Years passed. The scars of war faded, but the lesson remained. One night, long after the last alien ship had left Earth's orbit, a new signal came not from the Concorde, but from the edge of known space. A young species, just reaching the stars, sent a message filled with fear and pride. They declared their right to claim new worlds. They named Earth as their first target. The UEDC received the message. They could have fired weapons. They could have sent warnings. Instead, they sent a child's drawing that it showed two beings, one human, one alien, holding hands under a starry sky. On the back, written in simple letters, "We used to be like you. You don't have to be." The signal went silent for a long time. Then, a reply came. "Tell us more." And so, the work continued, not with guns, not with fear, but with open hands, quiet words, and the unshakable belief that even the hardest heart can learn to care. Across the stars, the question no longer was, can we conquer them? It was, do we deserve to stand beside them? And for the first time in galactic history, the answer began with humility. Not pride. Earth had not won a war, that had ended the need for one. And in that silence, humanity's greatest victory echoed, not in thunder, but in peace.